Hello everyone and welcome to Farmer Joe Homesteading. On today's update, we're going to be talking about why it is so important to castrate your bucklings at a young age or separate them, and how we learned the hard way, as well as updates on what's going on with all of our coops, with the birds and the rabbits. Stick around and follow us along on this adventurous farm update. So I kind of messed up on that, and I put Luna locked in with all of the babies last night, because I come and lock up around 9:30, because then I try to get out here and milk at 9:30 in the morning, so they have a full 12-hour hold. And so when I came out last night in the dark to lock up, I usually double check to make sure that both Luna and Star are not locked in with the babies. But last night I just locked the gate and walked away, and I knew Star was standing there because I walked by her, but I didn't even look for Luna. So she got locked in last night with her baby, so she doesn't have anything worth milking. But I'm gonna give her grain anyways, because I'm trying to keep her production up at least till the end of the month. So we're still milking her and Star, and yeah, usually I have milk to get from both of them, and quite a bit. We're getting about 3/4 of a gallon, anywhere from half a gallon to 3/4 of a gallon in the mornings, milking these girls once we separate kids off. So they've been doing pretty good when I remember to actually lock the babies in a separate space. While I'm here and just hanging out with her anyways, I may as well tell you what's been going on with our goat herd. So we have had some issues come up with the goats. We found out that Jessie, Sally, and June are all bred. The only reason we're going off, the only thing we have to go off of is they never came back into heat. So since that initial big wave of everybody being in heat in October, nobody has come back into heat, which is really nice, but also kind of sucks. So we had intended on separating out some of the does that have never kidded before, our doelings, first timers, to kid in April instead of March with everybody else, just to kind of space it out a little bit, and also to try and give them a little bit more growth time. And as well, they seem to do better if mature does kid first before your doelings, because then there's lots of milk to go around if something goes wrong, and then they have somebody to kind of learn from in mothering. So we kept back some of them. The plan was to keep back Everest, Jessie, June, and Sally, but Everest snuck in with the Billies and got bred, and then so it was just the three that needed to be kept separate. So I was waiting for them, and have been waiting for them to come back into heat. They should have come back into heat last week, and Still nothing. So they should come back into heat every 21 days, give or take. I've had some come in around 19. I've had some, I think Luna is usually like 22, 23 days. So some of them are a little late, some of them a little bit, but always around that 21 day mark. And nothing. There is nothing. And as you can hear, there's nothing going on over in the billy pen either. They're not pacing the fence. There's no smell whatsoever left in the barnyard. Nothing, which is a huge indicator that everything is now bred. So how did June and Jessie and little Sally end up getting bred? Well, this is how. We have little billy goats that live in here with the big girls. These boys belong to Luna and Star, who kidded the end of August. We did band them, and we have a whole video on us banding these little guys around 7 and 8 weeks old. About 3 days after banding them, these little girls came into heat, and they were mounting them, and I know that they were mounting them regularly, but because I just banded them, I figured it was safe and it was fine and there was no big deal. But now we have nobody coming back into heat. And those 3 girls, Jessie, June, and Sally, never went into the billy pen. I never found them sneaking into the billy pen like Everest did. Nothing. I kept a close eye on them. I even locked them in the shelter to keep them away from the billies. But they were not away from these little billy goats that had just freshly been banded. And that is the only thing we can think of for why these girls have now been bred. So Sally, June, and Jessie. So what does this mean for us having those 3 doelings now also being bred in October? It means that we have 10 does due in 1 week. Our first doe that we bred this year was our sweet big mama, who was bred on September 16th with a kidding date of February 12th. Next after that was on October 12th, we bred Star and Aloise, and then that was also the time that Everest snuck in. So all 3 of those have a kidding date of March 9th. So we have 3 weeks after Mama and then March 9th. Now the last doe to be bred for the season was Indigo, who bred on October 19th. So her due date is March 16th. Now if you look on a calendar, March 9th and March 16th are exactly 1 week apart from each other. March 9th is a Saturday and March 16th is a Saturday. And we have 10 does due in that window. For the girls, it's not a big deal. I know that they're in good condition. They're getting fed amazing good food. And it just means that it's going to be a real headache for me when the time comes. I just wanted to mention with the boys, we've never had this be a problem before because we've never had fresh doelings like this that we raise to breed. And we've never had kids in August. We usually kid in the spring. So having a combination of both some late fall babies and some new doelings that are the right size for them to reach was our biggest issue. We normally would band around the 8-week mark in the spring and have never had a problem with that because the girls are too tall and they don't usually cycle that late in the year anyways, or that soon in the year, I guess. They usually cycle in the fall. So this year just happened to be an interesting one that made it a lot harder for us with banding the boys. So with these 3 little girls, I went back because I was keeping track of everybody's heats. I had everybody's heats written down, and anybody who went in with the billies was written down. Now, obviously, I didn't have them written down that they went in the billy pen, but I did have their heats written down. So Jessie actually came into heat on October 13th, which is the same day that Luna was bred, and that heat, Star and Aloise and Everest all bred on the 12th. So those 3 on the 12th, and then Luna and Jessie on the 13th. For June bred later, and so June's due date is actually, I believe, the 16th. She was bred on the 16th. That's when I have her written down. And the reason I know when June was in heat was because when we were building the Billy fence, Buddy got out on that day and he tried to breed her, and I had to sprint like mad across the barnyard and grab him just before he was able to get her. So I was like within seconds of that being bad. So I saved her from that. But I know that when I pulled Buddy off of her and put him back locked away, that the little guys were mounting her. And that was on, I believe, the 15th or 16th of October. So the only one I don't have any record of is Sally. I don't have anything written down about when Sally was in heat, but I know that I do remember her being in heat and pacing the fence when everybody else was pacing the fence. So I know that she cycled between that same dates as well, between the 12th and 19th, I believe it is. So yeah, I only don't have records for Sally, but she is not in heat. Nobody's showing any signs of heat, and they're all just happy to be on the bale and getting their grain. All right, now that we've got all that news out of the way, I want to show you some of the bellies, because some of these girls are already starting to look pretty plump. Mama is about 2 months into her pregnancy, and some of these girls are now coming up on the 5-week mark in their pregnancy, so they're starting to look a little bit fuller. Seeing those little baby bellies start to grow is really fun. My favorite thing about raising goats is that their gestation is only 5 months. So typically around that 2-month mark, you start to notice, because it only takes 2.5 months and they're halfway through their pregnancy, which means that Mama is almost halfway through her pregnancy already. If you haven't been following our farm for long, Big Mama didn't kid last year. So it'll be 2 years when she kids this time. So we're really looking forward to having kids from her again, because she is our family favorite, and Farmer Joe and I are really crossing our fingers for some beautiful doelings, because this is the year we're going to keep one. In other goat news, we finally got the straw into the milk shed, so we now have all of the hay we need for kidding season and straw secured in our milking area. And Farmer Joe and I are planning on building another milk stand tomorrow or the next day to have a second stand here in the milk room. All right, now on to the coops and coop news. So we don't have very many birds left in this close coop. I've been slowly separating and moving birds over to eventually get them all into one coop together. So the plan is to keep turkeys in here and geese in here and everything else over in the other coops for the winter months, because the more body heat we have, the better. So this is all I have left right now that's out here. You can see there's not very many chicken. Now, I don't like wintering in my big pullet coop because it is absolutely huge. So I'm planning before it gets really, really cold to try to do a little bit more patchwork around the windows where the drafts really come in. And I already have started the process of segregating the coop, but I want to continue on that and finish it off and have it completely segregated on the inside so that they can only access one half of the coop, because then they have to all sleep together on the roosts on one side so they'll stay warmer. So with this segregation here, I just need to put some wire up so that they can't just fly back and forth. The plan is to be able to separate this coop into multiple spaces because I have a lot of different breeds and that coop is just huge. It was made for like 100 birds. So I have 100 birds to put in there right now, but in breeding season, I don't need that many all in one space. The pullets are starting to pick up in laying, so I am getting quite a few eggs now from my pullets. The old girls are done. It's cold, it's winter, so we're pretty much just getting pullet eggs and continuing to get more and more pullet eggs, which is really exciting too. I don't have too much in turkey news. They just kind of are doing their own thing now. I'm glad I got rid of some toms, so we're down to just the 4. So we have 2 of the bronze, and then we have 2 of the whites, and then lots of hens. So they've all been doing really well. I do still have some chicks, and Bobo's special silky chicken is in here. And then I've got these 2 turkeys. So I'm pretty sure that big one is a tom and the little one is a hen. So I've got them in here, and some olive eggers, and some leftover rooster chicks from the fall hatches. This year, I really didn't want to do chicks over winter, but I ended up with that late hatch of turkeys in August or September. And those chicks were all chicks that didn't get picked up. The person just never came to get them. So there's 7 chicks in there, and the turkeys. And I was thinking about posting and selling all of the chicks again, but they are extra body heat for my special turkeys, because I really need that other turkey hen to survive that's in there, because that means that I will only have 2 white hens if that one makes the winter. So having the extra body heat in there will make a difference. The geese are just doing their thing, free ranging, honking, and keeping predators away. Wintertime there's not a whole lot of excitement going on with the geese. They have started to get a bit more aggressive, and they usually don't do that unless it's breeding season. So I'm not 100% certain what is going on with them right now. I know last year in the fall they did lay, and they haven't laid a single egg this fall. So I'm hoping they just hold out and wait and just give me a good breeding season next year. All right. Now on to the hutches. This new setup has been perfect. It has been so much easier for feeding and watering, and I just like having all of my rabbitry all in one little section. So that's been going really well. I did go through and sex all of Livy and Amber's kits the other day to know exactly what I have got of each. So Amber's are now 10 weeks old, and they are, I have a couple of them going, and I'm hoping to get rid of the rest of them because I don't want to keep all of them here. We are keeping the little peachy orange one from that litter because we have been trying to get a female from that, and we ended up giving one or selling one to a family locally, and they just love her to bits. So I am glad we sold her, but I was hoping to get one more orangey one out of Livy this year to keep, and we did. So that one is staying. And then for Amber's, we went through them as well and sexed all of them. And the 2 little whites are females, and the rest are males. So we do have the little orange one already pre-sold. These reds, New Zealand's, there it is. These red New Zealand's are quite popular. They're really hard to come by. I don't see them a lot. So we're really happy to have some reds here on the homestead. So yeah, this new setup is working really well. It was nice to go through these last litters of the year. Our other update is I finally finished this final hutch of the season. So it has a nice tin roof on it to match the nice tin roofs of the others. And look what I got to put in it. There's not really anything particularly special about her other than she is from Alberta. And I just wanted to bring in another doe from another farm. So for breeding does for 2024, we will still have our sweet Livy and Amber. We have Kata and our ermine doe. And then we will also have this chestnut doe and the little orange doe, which gives us a total of 6 does for the breeding season. And then we still have Peter, and we have Houdini, and then I kept one of Houdini's sons off of Twilight, who we got rid of. So that gives us 3 buck possibilities. Houdini, it will be 4 next spring, so I'm not expecting him to be super keen on breeding a lot of anything in the spring. So that's why we chose to keep this other buck as well. So we have 3 different buck possibilities and 6 does for the 2024 season. So the final update that I have for you guys, in my last farm update video, I had mentioned that we were going to be rehoming the sheep, and the next day they went. So we only have the ones that we're going to butcher and our ram, and all of the girls and babies have been rehomed to my sister-in-law, who is absolutely loving them. All right, and that is that. I have a feeling this video is probably longer than normal updates, but we just have a lot going on around here. So if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button to never miss one of these fun farm updates here, because there is always stuff going on around here. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.